Hi, my name's Allie, and I know so many people right now are going through some sort of healing process where they're just realizing that they want to take time to heal. So I wanted to share some of my process too, because I went through that, and I'm still, everyone, life is a constant healing journey. We're never like done growing and healing. But I just wanted to share a little bit of like a part of my life that I was really, really in it. Like I went through all of this stuff and all this trauma and realizing like, I was not attracting the right people into my life. I was allowing people to treat me badly, and I just needed to restart myself. So if there's anyone out there who is on that journey, I applaud you for being on that journey, or if you've been through that journey, or if you know that you need to go through that journey of just like resetting everything, meaning just like, taking a break, okay, saying like, I'm just gonna spend this time for myself now, and like, let me see, like for me, I started from scratch, almost from scratch, I feel like. But everyone's journey and everyone's process is so different, so it's not gonna look like mine. Like everyone has a different way of how, they do things and how they're meant to do things, and this is just what went down in my life. So I just wanted to share like a little bit of my timeline about like what I went through and like some of the things that I've learned. So I'll go back several years prior to this very day. So several years ago, like more than 5 years ago, like 7 years ago, I was definitely the type of person who I always wanted to be out and about, and I always wanted to talk to people and like know people and have people know me. And I was that social butterfly, but I just realized that it was from a place that wasn't necessarily like the most fulfilling place. Like what was motivating me to do that. It was more for like just needing to be seen and needing to be known. And so that definitely fulfilled a part of me that, I did need at that time. So I'm not upset that I was out all the time and didn't spend enough time alone. Like I'm not like upset for that phase in my life. And then later I realized, okay, we need to scale back. So I have, I've struggled a lot with anxiety. So just anxiety, yeah, social anxiety, but also just anxiety of being around so many people. Like it just causes me to like I just would get like buzzing and just like pick up on way too many people's energy and not feel enough of myself. And so that's where I had to learn how to start feeling more of myself again and just being grounded in myself, so that later on, many years later, now that I can go to a social situation and not get totally lost, even though I still get affected, like not get totally lost in that, like that feeling. It's like this feeling that you're there but you're not there, and it's just like all this anxiety. I know there's some people that know what I'm talking about, so but if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay too. So yeah, I was in that. I was kind of going with the flow, but too much. Like I was too I didn't have enough like grounding and like setting my own life, if that makes sense. I was kind of going with the flow with everything. Like the people I was meeting, just whatever came into my life was in my life. Like had no concept of boundaries at all. So I know a lot of people struggle with boundaries too. So my heart goes out to you, and my heart goes out to my past self who could not set a boundary to save her life. And okay, so yeah, I realized like the friendships I was drawing into my life, they just weren't necessarily the most fulfilling friendships in certain ways. And I'm so grateful for everyone who's been in my life. But there was a point where I had to look at myself and like what I was going through and how, I was being treated, and just realize like, okay, let me just stop. Let me stop and just take a break, take some time for myself, and just look at what's going on in my life. Because there was a point where I went through so much trauma, and things just kept it was like a domino effect. And so this domino effect led me to just be so stressed out that I just couldn't even anymore. So I had contacted, I learned how to confront people more. Like I kind of had that skill from like when I was an RA, I kind of learned that skill kind of slowly. It definitely didn't come natural for me to confront people, but sometimes like I had to do it in letters because I just didn't really want to see that person face to face. And it's okay to not want to see somebody, and it's okay to communicate, you know. Sometimes it's best to communicate in letters, because I felt like for me, when I'm on the spot, sometimes like I don't say things right, or I might not get my point across right, or just say the right things. So I feel like, you know, in writing form, it just helps you, like, it helps me process it and just say what I actually want to say, and so I can send it out. So I learned how to do that with some people, and I realized that, you know, if somebody has hurt me, and if they're not even willing to, you know, acknowledge that or say sorry, even if they don't think that they're wrong, like maybe they're not wrong, but it's like a true friend will always acknowledge, like, if they have caused you pain and would be sorry about it. And I've learned that there are people in my life who are our true friends and who will take responsibility for their actions, and that is so lovely, and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, not everyone is just on, like, not everyone has the ability to do that, so I had to, you know, cut those people out. And that's okay, you know, just like send it out with love. Although I wasn't necessarily in the feeling of love a lot, like during my hermiting process, I was going through a lot of pain and a lot of anger, and just like unraveling of all and processing all these things that I had in my life. Okay, so going back to like the hermiting part, I guess. So yeah, I had to cut people out. I stopped going out. Like, I stopped going to events and feeling like I need to go to everything, and just stopped feeling like I was gonna miss out on things, because I just realized, like, after a certain point it just becomes a little bit like bland and repetitive and monotonous, and like I just wasn't getting like fulfilled with going to like all these different things where all these people were. And I wanted to find a place within myself where I could really be fulfilling within, like, fulfill my own self. So that's where meditation comes into play. I went to a Vipassana 10-day meditation retreat, and that really helped me get back into my body. And so I definitely adapted that, and I took that with me, and I started doing these body meditations where I would just feel into my body, and I developed the ability to really get super sensitive and feel like where my tension was in my body. Like, I have so much throat tension and heart stuff that I still need to unravel, but that I have worked on to get to this point where I can be more open, and my throat more open, my heart more open. So but there's definitely more work to do on that. But I learned, yeah, I learned how to feel like more of my body, like where I'm feeling tight and everything, because I think so many of us get lost in our minds and like our thoughts and everything, and like we're not enough in the body. But the body is so helpful, because the traumas get stored in the body, and I know a lot of people know that. There's a book called like The Body Keeps the Score, something like that. I haven't read the whole thing, but I just didn't, like, I read like a lot of it, and I was like, okay, I don't know if this is like for me right now, because there's so many ways and so many books that, like, some books are, you know, really helpful for people at certain points in their life, and just like you need certain things in certain times of your life. So anyway, yeah, I just really learned how to feel into my body, and just I started being able to release more. And when I was doing that, I started feeling like my muscles, like the tension, I would feel things like pop, like muscles just like pop, and like in my stomach, a lot of like stomach stuff. But I would feel like even my muscles would start to pulsate when I was meditating, and it just felt like this release. So I just thought that was really interesting. So meditation was a huge part of my journey, and yeah, I spent a lot more time meditating. I barely was seeing like friends and like seeing people at this point. So I basically, at this point, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos on healing trauma and healing abuse and all these different things, because of the past that I went through. And it was just super helpful for me to realize like why I was the way that I was, and it just helped me give more compassion to myself. And it's like, oh, okay, well, this happened in my life, and that's why I was like that. That's why I attracted these things into my life. That's why I allowed myself to go through these experiences with these people, and I can change that. And so I, you know, found the empowerment in learning about you know, different patterns and behaviors that I had adapted in order to protect myself, or things, the ways that I learned how to behave that weren't necessarily the healthiest way. So yeah, I just learned more about, yeah, just like took a deep like look inside of myself, and just wanted to give myself the opportunity to change that. And it's 100% possible. If you're going down a path that isn't the best path, it's 100% possible to turn your life around. And you know, change the way, like the people that are in your life, and it's possible to change everything. And I kind of feel that's a lot of, like, I did that, you know, to like a certain extent, and still working on creating the life that I want, because I'm not quite there yet. But yeah, just really grateful for every moment and every step along the way. I worked on my health journey as well. Like my body, I feel, you know, the body and the mind go hand in hand. So I worked on cutting out gluten out of my diet, cutting out sugar, processed sugar. And I'm not saying everyone has to do this. This is just my journey. So I'm just speaking from a place that like I'm coming from. But I had to, you know, start exercising more, start eating healthier, and just like purifying myself. I had to purify myself off of like all these layers that were just like keeping me not the person that I can be. So this was happening for several years. I actually didn't spend a ton of time with a lot of people because I was working so hard on myself. And the mistake that I want to point out that I made was that, so I was doing a lot of shadow work, and I was kind of digging up like the darknesses inside of me and all this like traumatic memories and all this pain. And it's actually not necessary to dig so deeply into that pain. So it's necessary, like when it comes up, to work through that and take the time to work through that when it's coming up. But I felt like I was just wanting to, like, I was being like a bulldozer, and I was trying to dig like so hard, and that part wasn't necessary, and that part might have given me more anxiety and just made me feel a little bit more traumatic at that time. But that's okay, you know, I learned from my mistakes. I experienced using techniques with the law of attraction as well. I realized that that's not like the be-all end-all way to do it, but that definitely helped me get out of some of my depression. It's just like trying to like recreate and like just draw in the feelings that I want, and I guess that's what it led me to. So the law of attraction, if you don't know, it's kind of like they kind of want you to focus on like the positive things. It's a lot of like, you know, focusing on the positive things and what you want and what you desire and things like that. But the thing with the law of attraction, and maybe the law of attraction doesn't say that you can't do shadow work, but I think it's so necessary to also like feel into parts of yourself that are, you know, just to be present with the parts that do not feel so good and like are painful. I think that's 100% necessary, actually, like just doing the work when you do feel a bad feeling, to process it rather than reaching for a more positive thought. And you know, there's like a balance. You don't always want to look at the negative parts, and then you don't always want to just like pretend that you're in, like, there's a lot of forced positivity kind of stuff going on right now in the New Age community. It's a lot about like positivity, and which is great, but it's like, but the shadow is so important. So it's like we need that balance in order to grow, in my opinion. So I experimented with the law of attraction, and that actually did, you know, it helped me like just get into more positive emotions. But yeah, I just had to find that balance. And yeah, just doing techniques like, you know, Joe Dispenza, if you want to look up Joe Dispenza, he does yeah, these meditations where you kind of, he tells you to like, okay, experience like the future, like pretend you already have like what you want. And you know, there's a lot of like these teachings that are going on, like pretend you already, you know, are the person that you want to be, to pretend that you already have. And those are so great too. And so I think, yeah, it's all about balance. Like I think those are like, those types of things are so necessary, but also like, you know, releasing is so necessary, and feeling, you know, going into your darkness when it comes up is so necessary. So I don't want this video to get too long, but yeah, I just wanted to share that for now, and maybe I'll go into like certain other parts lately. If you have any questions in the comments, like let me know. And also if you have anything you want to share in the comments, please let me know. So if you want more content like this, feel free to subscribe, feel free to like the video so that more people can see it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing like more on my like health, healing journey, maybe some lifestyle stuff too. So yeah, again, my name's Allie. Thanks so much for watching this video, and good luck with everything. And just keep remembering, like, you know, you are light. Sometimes the world can feel so dark, and it can feel so dark inside of us, but just remembering that, you know, there's a lot of beauty in the world, and you're beautiful. Like you're a part of the beauty in this world. You wouldn't be here if you weren't meant to be here. So everyone, just, you are where you need to be. You're on the right track. And I know so many people say that, like, you are where you need to be, and you know, I think it's true. Like, you know, you just are where you are, but that doesn't mean that you don't, you know, keep shooting for the stars. Like, that doesn't mean you don't keep trying to get better, and, you know, create a better life for yourself. So anyway, I think I'm rambling at this point, so take care, have a lovely day, have a lovely week, month, and hopefully I'll see you again.